You're listening to the Chelsea Zerna podcast, a podcast that inspires conscious leaders to live meaningful lives and to get in touch with the deepest parts of the human experience. My name is Chelsea Zerna, and I'm an embodied leadership coach with the mission of rewilding the feminine back into society. Each week, I have a conscious conversation with best-selling authors, inspiring leaders, and revolutionary humans who aren't afraid of stepping into the unknown and exploring the greatest truths of life. Thanks for listening. Welcome to the Chelsea Zerna podcast. My name is Chelsea Zerna, and I'm your host. And I'm sitting here with my beautiful sister, Thatja Andrade. She is a feminine leadership guide. She's also a genius brand strategist. And for the last 6 months, we have been partnering and collaborating together on a beautiful project. And today we're going to talk about the journey of collaboration. So chances are, if you are listening to this podcast, you either love the Chelsea Zerna podcast and you're subscribed and you've been listening to all of them, or you are interested in collaborating yourself and you're learning all the ins and outs and want to get a little bit deeper into what it actually takes to collaborate. So today you picked a great podcast because we're going to get really vulnerable and really deep, and we're going to share the whole journey. We're going to share all the light, all the shadow, and we're going to go deep into both the business side and the personal growth side. And so with that being said, Thatja, welcome to the podcast.
I am so honored to be here, Chelsea. Thank you so much for having me. It is a pleasure and honor to talk about those things. I think it's such an important conversation to have, and we're both willing to go so deep and be so open about it. Our process in the light and the shadow, because we're just welcoming of both, and I think that's a great place to start.
Completely. Yeah. And it's so important for anyone entering any sort of relationship or partnership, to dive into it with your eyes wide open and to know all of the magic that comes with partnering, right? In any relationship. And then also knowing that when the shadow comes up, it's part of the journey in any relationship. And there's so many ways and tools that we can use to work through those shadows and actually have the biggest transformation of your entire life. For me, I know that my relationships are always really, really, really transformational. And sometimes they're challenging. And I know that both Thatja's a Scorpio.
And you are a Gemini.
And I'm a Gemini. And I have a lot of Plutonian energy. So if you're familiar with astrology, it's basically like the phoenix rising from the ashes and the shadow transmuting into light. And so that is a gift in itself, being able to feel safe and go as deep as we were able to go in our partnership, in our collaboration, both personally and professionally.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Totally.
Yeah. So Thatja and I, we started a collaboration a few months ago, and it was like kind of divine, right? It just kind of like came through. And she was in Europe, and I was like, Thatja, I would love to invite you to Tulum, Mexico, and let's run this workshop together. And she was like, amazing. I'm booking my flight. I'll be there.
Yeah, it was pretty natural and effortless. It just felt right. I was actually like looking forward to create something with you in person. We met how many years ago? Like 4 years ago in Bali. Like didn't meet.
Yeah, I guess it was quite a while. 2019.
Okay, yeah, we saw each other, and we just saw each other. That's it. And then we went to another event online that we got partnered, and like kind of danced together virtually. And then Bryant Wood, which was my coach at the time, is very good friends with Chelsea, and he asked her, she asked him, I'm looking for speakers, I guess. I don't know what you asked him
Yeah,
actually.
so I was putting on the Chrysalis Festival, this online festival, and I was requesting speakers that were really in touch with business and business energetics, and he said, "Oh, I know the perfect person, Thatja." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember her." And she immediately was like, "Yes, I'm in. I want to do this." And and then it grew from there. We ended up collaborating. I invited her into a mastermind as one of our master coaches, and then I don't know, I felt so magnetized to her energy online because we had never really talked in person, and yeah, I just
Yeah. And as soon as I got here in Tulum, we gave like this big sister, ancient, past life, orgasmic, like was like we're like ah, and we were like
we
chanting
toned and yeah, we were
om.
chanting. It was like, wow, we're reconnecting, and a huge hug. It was like a 10-minute hug. We're like, okay, yeah, let's create together.
And
This
we
is great.
we went for it, right? We had one event in person after the other. That was after my big break I had like this year where I wasn't really focused in my business, like going on. I was focused in really in the back end, not really in the outside and the external, but really working behind the scenes a lot the last year. And when I met you, I'm like, okay, this is the time for me to go out, for me to express, for me to come out and just gift. And you were like I was like, wow, this is the energy that I want to come back to business with. Like, this is like the vibe that is going to really, like, motivate me and like amplify my natural gifts.
Yeah.
So, like, I really felt that your energy was exactly that thing that made me feel safe, that made me feel held, and made me like feel on fire.
Yes, I'll second that for sure. For me, it was like when I met Thatja, I was like, wow. First of all, she's super deep, super expressive, very connected to her body, like very in her feminine power in a way that was very. It gave me a lot of confidence, and I, in general, have a lot of confidence. But there's some doubt that creeps in, and when I'm with her, it was like all the doubt disappears. She's so certain that I'm like, oh yeah, this is all gonna work no matter what. And it's just like it was medicine for me. It really felt so good in my body to be like, I have no doubt that anything that we do is gonna be super successful because we're just approaching it with so much like confidence and certainty. And we both had done the same training. So we both had like a very similar backgrounds with, the tantra school that we went to. We were both feminine leadership guides and mentors, coaches. And we also were very similar in our expression and our mission and what we're here to kind of give the world. And so when we came together, it was cool because sometimes when you start a business with someone or collaborate on a project, you're like figuring out like, what are we doing? And with us, we were like, oh yeah, we already know because we've been doing it separately for years. And so everything was just easy. Like literally, we didn't even think about the what. It was just like, oh yeah, let's do this and this. It was so natural that it was like, okay, perfect. And, we collaborated in person quite a bit in Tulum. We were hosting this event called the Empress Temple.
Well, we are. We have one tomorrow.
We are. We're still doing it.
We're still on it, baby.
Yes. Okay, yes. But before we even did the online work, we were doing the Empress Temple, and we still are. And it's basically this beautiful container for women, for like all this, like basically empresses around Tulum to come into an event together and just be activated in their empress energy. So we were hosting that together, and then we said, you know what? It was on 11/11. You remember? It was on the 11/11 portal.
Oh yeah, it was on November 11th, so 11/11,
Yes.
2022.
2021.
No, sorry, 2021. Oh my goodness.
And we had a whiteboard marker in this beautiful house that we rented with all these crystals. All these books were dipped in crystals. It was like the best environment possible for this. And we just took a whiteboard and we created this entire vision. And we were like, let's do this. Let's create something online.
In 1 hour, everything came through. It was like a huge download. It was instant. We were like, okay, this is it. Boom, boom, boom. And of course, the vision just developed. And we went deeper, like really, really deep into exactly that, the main thing first. And I think that was what really freaking helped us to create that really deep root where we are right now.
Yes.
In this, as separate individuals, but as well as like the partnership that we developed along the way, that we were able to come now into this a beautiful place of partnership after going through like a lot of things, and really choosing to stay in alignment with what we teach, to stay in integrity with our everything.
For sure.
And embodiment. So
yeah, we built a really solid like friendship and connection before we launched this online business that took a lot of energy, a lot of focus, like probably a solid month or two of every morning from like 8 a.m. until 10 p.m. just creating and, building and just refining. And it took a lot of energy. And also, it was also like us.
When was that? From 8 a.m. to, I don't remember that. I'm like, did you work that much?
I felt like I was working a lot. Well, she also was in another time zone.
When I was in Brazil.
When you were in Brazil, it was her 10 a.m., but for me it was 8 a.m. So it was kind of early, right?
So I freaked out. The thing is, I freaked out, like Chelsea has done how many online festivals with like 200 speakers for like how many
8
days?
festivals.
For how many days each festival goes for? Like
3 to 7. A lot of days.
3 to 7 days. Like, and when she came up, we were thinking about like the strategy, how we're going to, like serve and give that first nourishment to our audience and that little taste of our flavor together. And I'm like, well, let's do a 1-day masterclass, 1 hour, that's it. And then she's like, no, let's do a 7-day challenge.
A 5-day challenge.
No, 5. We came into an agreement, right? I'm like, okay, 5-day challenge.
Oh yeah, I did say 7 days.
You did say.
It was a lot.
I think there was a point that you said 10.
I said 10 at first.
You said it was like a 10-day thing. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't feel nourishing to me. I usually do like 3 things. What feels good to me is like 1 hour, master class, maybe 2.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I've never done like a 5-day challenge, starting from there. So for me, it was like, okay, Chelsea, look, I need to feel nourished. I know you have a vision. You want to do your way. I think that was like the first thing, that making decisions together as partners, equal partners, no? Because me and Chelsea, we decided to go on this like 50-50, equal kind of work, kind of tasks and responsibilities and everything, and make decision making and everything. So there is no hierarchy at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so we had to learn how to like really dance on our expert, like what we are actually,
really great at, what we enjoy doing.
Yes.
And I'm gonna preface this whole thing by saying it's really, really crucial what you just said, because up until this point, I had been giving a lot. And I had been giving a lot for lower than I needed to be, for a lower cost, a lower price. And I had been going on a massive abundance journey for 6 months up to Thatja arriving in Tulum. And so I was in the state of really activating my abundance. I moved into this beautiful home that I'm in right now, like tripled my rent. And I was just like calling in all this abundance, like my programs I delivered a program that was just really exceptional, and I charged more, like twice as much as I had charged before. And so leading up to this, I had been used to giving these online events for really low cost, like $20, $30, $60. And for this, we were like, you know what? We really want to be in alignment with our Empress temples too. We were like, this is going to be an act of just giving from our heart, but doing it in a way that feels really aligned. And so going into this project, there was also this mindset of, let's do something that feels really aligned with our energy. So we ended up landing on doing something for 2 hours a day for 5 days. Up until this point, I was doing it for like 10 hours a day for 5 days. So this was like a way better shift. And I had also, it was a lot, but I ended up working with this incredible coach, Jolie Dom. She was amazing. I give her a lot of, credit. She was just super incredible. And she also gave me this amazing way of putting together these events in a way that was really deeply nourishing, in a way that my feminine spirit was just like, oh my God, yes. So, yeah, that being said, we were going on this journey together of what does that look like for us? Like, how do we want to operate in both the feminine version of doing business, nourishing,
exactly,
yeah, and this like committed masculine energy.
Yeah, and you know what? And the devotion of both feminine and masculine.
Yeah.
And you know what? One thing that I have to say, like I have had hundreds of mentors and like business mentors. I had many too as well. And at the end of the day, like I don't care what like Julie's great. I don't care what she says. I'm gonna do, or I don't care what I say to you when if I'm coaching you. Like I want you to feel nourished. I want to feel nourished. For me, this is like top priority. What feels good to me? What actually makes me excited? Because if I'm putting up an event and I'm not excited about the amount of energy I'm giving out, then darlings, like how it's going to,
and you're not in full alignment,
then it's not going to be the potential that it can be for everyone involved, because like energy, we are the energy of it, like we are holding the energy of the event. Even though that, not to say that we had 5 other speakers going live with us every single day, and all of this managing on live. I created the Magnetic Woman Academy. There is 13 mentors inside of my mentors are teaching there, but nothing was live, everything was pre-recorded. So like creating this with you, I knew I was safe to create this with you, but at the same time I'm this kind of person that I just want to go for it too. I want to learn, I want to experiment myself. And even when I don't know how, I just go and I experiment things. So I'm always experimenting and I like that.
yeah.
So this event was pretty powerful for me, Chelsea, because it's like, yeah, it was like a whole thing. It was a whole thing of managing the energy. And the first day, if you watch the Empress Temple immersion, online immersion, you see the first day I'm a bit more like in my masculine, a little bit like stiff. And then the second day, I start to relax a little bit more because of all the, like, it's new for me, right? So I'm like, I'm relaxing. I need to trust that what's going on, right?
Yeah. And we also had.
Let me just finish that. And the third day, I'm more and more. And for the last day, I'm completely surrendered. Yeah. And now with the delivery of the Empress Codes, I'm feeling like, oh my goodness, it's like, feminine energy is leading the way. 100%. Okay, go for it.
No, for sure. And I think that we had 700 people sign up for this event. So there was also this element of, okay, we are now about to, this was our first time doing this online together, right? So now we have 700 people. So there's this element of, oh, let's make it as powerful as we can. Let's make it no mistakes. Like, let's make it perfect. And naturally, Thatja's like really amazing at doing things so freaking well. Like, she just goes lengths. And for me,
I really pay attention to the details of things.
And I'm very big picture, like very big picture. I'm detailed in ways, but I would say my energy and my focus is all about the experience and the feeling and making sure that everyone is feeling good and connected. So my focus is always on the experience of the customer, the client. Like, oh, how can I make them feel super welcome, super invited? And her focus is usually aesthetics. How can I make it
for me,
look?
this is customer experience, my love.
It is.
Okay, yeah. I have been trying to teach you the whole time. I hope you learn.
Okay, so
I feel like yeah, I know. I feel like
we're getting to this part.
I feel like this aesthetics, the feeling that you have when you come into the container, and the the feeling of you being part of it before being there is as important as, because it sets the tone, right? When you're creating like an offering online, it is so important that the vibe of it attracts. So then you don't have to go and you chase people around. You don't have to be in your masculine energy chasing. So I do my art in the back end beforehand. I make sure everything is beautiful. I pay attention to the details because for me they matter. If I pay attention to details when I see other people's stuffs, right? I'm like, especially aesthetically, so I want to make sure as much as possible that I am giving the best that I can. And, this is my gift. And Chelsea has another gift, which is communication, right? Which is being out there in the world, talking with a lot of people at the same time. For me, this takes my energy away. So, what I prefer to do, I prefer to create the aesthetics, and she prefers to kind of like be talking with hundreds of people at the same time, which for me takes so much of my energy to go one-on-one, and
Yes,
like that. Yeah.
And this is why this was the best gift ever and the most challenging aspect of building this.
Yeah, this was for sure the most challenging thing from our partnership, because like, yeah, I felt like, because I'm so strongly like, for me it's very important, the vibe without words. Like, for me it's very important that you feel it without me having to say anything.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why you're a genius brand strategist, literally.
Thank you.
Like, this is your gift in every way. And like, from everything that you do is like so freaking beautiful and spot on, and you feel the energy. And that's obviously not, I've learned so much from you in that way. And my gift is making people feel super welcome, super part of a community. Like, everybody is just like, oh my God, I feel so connected. I feel the authenticity. I feel this genuine like hug. And I just like want to be a part of this. Like, and that is my gift. Like, that is the thing that I love the most. So whenever something is off slightly in the energy, or whenever I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, this person didn't feel heard, or whatever, all these like things, I am just like super intense about that, because I want to make sure that everyone is just like feeling it. And then when they leave, they're feeling included, they're feeling welcome. They're just like, wow, I'm here for it. And so my focus is about, talking with people, making sure that everyone feels heard before and after and all these things. And that's a great mix, right? When you put those two things together, magic happens. And we got to see a lot of magic happen from this. And the challenge is in the building process. So in any relationship, right? You just heard all of the lights. Like, wow, that sounds like the perfect partnership. You just put two of the best skills together into one creation. Right? We all know that when we get into romantic partnerships, like when we're dating, we're like, oh, he's so cute. Like, oh my gosh, wow, he just like whisked me away on this beautiful dinner. And then, you start dating and you're like, huh, he just did this thing where he just, kind of like told the waiter off or whatever, things happen. Or
What is it?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, you just like say something to the waiter and you're just like, oh, did you just say that to the waiter? We all like kind of like notice these things of like, oh, you didn't really treat her that nicely or whatever. That doesn't actually happen. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't understand.
When you're on a date with someone, right? And then he takes you out to this beautiful dinner and you're just like, wow. And then, something happens and you're like, huh.
What do you actually want to say, Chelsea? Go for it.
You start to see the shadow, right, of the person. In every relationship, there's light and there's shadow.
Yeah.
And so here...
For sure, you can see the nature of a person by the way they treat the waiter. I totally agree with that.
Okay, so I'm very feminine in the way that I do things, obviously. Sometimes I'm not always direct. She's very direct, and she clarifies all these things, which is amazing, right? Yeah. Okay, so yeah. Anyways, so...
I love it, though, the way you say it. It's nice.
So in this, right, the light and the shadow comes out. So my shadow, for instance, is, kind of not being as clear. Like I love to be, I love to have all these things. So in my copywriting, right, and I write from this place of just like depth and then, she's like, boom. Okay. But we need to like edit the whole thing and make it really, direct. And so that's perfect. Right. But when we go deeper and deeper into it, then we start reaching all these places where in any partnership, you have the project that you're working on. And then you also have the relationship between the two people. And it is so important to nourish both of those things and to really put energy and time into both of those things. Sometimes people collaborate thinking like, oh yeah, it's going to be easier. Like I want to collaborate with someone because you have this gift and I have this gift and let's put them together and amplify. That totally happened here. We were reaching her audience. We were reaching my audience. We had both of our email marketing campaigns. We had both of our mentors, like our gifts. We had everything. We were rocking it, right? And then we also have our shadows. And you can't have light without shadow. We are freaking human beings, right? We're like, this is normal in any relationship. And if you think you can get out of a relationship without having any conflict, any shadow, that is not going to happen. Like, I hate to break it to you, that's not realistic. And that's not what you want because technically
it's not real.
It's not real.
It's not complete. It's not whole.
Yeah. And it's not transformational.
And if you want that, that's probably because you don't want to accept your own shadow. And then you're feeling unfulfilled and constrained. But like, what is shadow anyways? Maybe we can explain a little bit for them. Like, things that like your insecurities.
Let's talk about it with us.
Your insecurities, yeah, sure. What example do you
I'll give mine.
Yeah, go for it.
So in this exact partnership, my deepest shadow was, I had a couple, right? For me, it was victimhood. And I love seeing myself as really freaking powerful, right? That's why we're doing a course on
you actually
stepping into your power, right? It's like feminine leadership and power. And there were still places, and I went on a whole journey of sovereignty this year, meaning emotional and action sovereignty, right? Which means owning your emotions completely. And I was like, oh yeah, bam, 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 I got this. And in our relationship, there were certain places where I felt overpowered and I felt like all of these things. And I would blame and I would say, you're doing this to me. I don't feel that I have space to, fully speak or share my truth or, I feel overpowered and all these things, right? All these like things came up and it was at the end. And it took me a literal ego death to have this realization. My ego had to die. There was one day where I was like crying on the floor and I was shaking and I was like, oh, I don't want to experience this.
Yeah.
And, I had to go into the bathroom and compose myself. It was really challenging. Oh my God, my eye.
Are you crying?
I think so.
Aww. Yeah,
There's something in my eye too. It was really challenging though. I did cry a lot. And I had to get real with myself and say, how is she me? And how it started there. Like, how is she actually a mirror to me? And how am I exactly this way myself? And where am I not standing in my power? And where am I allowing her to overpower me because I'm not firm and I'm not trusting in my own power? And there was layers of this and levels of this and realizations of this. I had a lot of iterations of the beautiful mirror that we were and we are to each other in so many ways that, you know, I had to really humble myself because it's sometimes really hard acknowledging the truth and being like, you know what? I am also this. And I can't be upset because, like, I have this in me. And there's parts of me that are not in alignment. And instead of blaming, instead of, you know, shaming or, you know, saying this is you, what can I take responsibility for and where am I not fully in alignment? You know? And that was hard.
Yeah. What is it?
It was hard.
It was hard, yes.
It caused a lot of conflict.
And also, I'm not the kind of person that will just like
coddle
her when she is being a victim. I'm gonna be like, darling, can you please just point these fingers at yourself and feel your pain and just own like that this is, it doesn't matter if I leave, you're gonna project this into someone else, so you gotta own that. And the same thing with me, you know. And so in relationships, in my intimate relationships with Timo that I just had, it was just like I had this huge fear of abandonment, and I came to it was happening at the same time as our relationship, right? So I was like, I had these two dynamics, very intense two dynamics going on: my loving relationship, my new business partnership, and so like with him, I was like, by realizing my own shadow that was coming up in the partner in my loving partnership, which was the fear of abandonment, that he would abandon me. I realized, I told him, I'm like, this is happening, but I know it's not you. You can go away. I'm gonna find another man. I'm gonna feel the same way, and I'm gonna feel like he's doing that to me. He's gonna do that to me. So when I realized that, and she was going through that, I'm like, that's not me. I'm not like, I don't have the power to overpower anyone. Like, I don't want this power. I want to empower you to be powerful, and then you can let me know if you want to speak more. Like, you can say, you can ask me, why are you not letting me speak, instead of telling me I'm not letting. So we had to really understand how to communicate better, how to ask for what we desire better. Like, hey, I would like to speak whatever, or like, I would like for you not
do this thing.
Yeah, and so I didn't even understood how I was overpowering her when she was telling me in the beginning, like in the beginning of the conflict, when she was like blaming me to overpower her. I didn't quite understand how I was doing that, because it was not my intention, obviously, and I didn't really understand why she was saying, because she never expressed that in the moment, and then she started expressing in the moment what it was, and then we started to and then she could really see that it was actually her shadow most of the time. And I had the opportunity to enhance my sensibility with her in our partnership, understanding where she's at, what she needs from me, and not only her, but like probably other people that will come in my life. So that thing that she showed me is like a great thing, because from now on I'm much more aware. And you know, are you done sharing your shadows? Because I have one to share too.
Sure. I'll just say one more thing on this, just to go a level deeper. in a previous partnership, I was in the opposite role. So it was very interesting for me because I was in the place of empowering the other person. I was in the place of helping them in this role. And so for me, it was even harder seeing my shadow because I had always played that role in my relationship. And so now being in this relationship, it was like I've never been in this situation before where I feel like I'm in the victim, like I'm a victim. And through this, I also recognize that I haven't been the most like compassionate
with yourself,
with myself and with others, like with my mother, with other business. Like when people were in that place, it's tough because when we see someone else in their victimhood, there's a part of us, or there's a part of me that says, I don't want to be like that. And there's a little tough love that comes in with, just get your shit together. Like, let's do this. Like, let's stand in our power. And there's another part where it's like, I see you and I'm here for you in this. And when I went home to visit my parents in Buffalo midway through this journey, I saw my mom in a very different light. And it was the first time I went home and we didn't fight. And I actually had so much love and compassion and harmony with my family that I was like, oh my God, I feel like it just put me in another world of both sides of power, right? Because, we have this side of like really being in our power. Like it feels so like empowering and just like, we feel so confident. And then like, there's the other side of it where when someone isn't there, that was kind of my journey growing up. I've shared that on this podcast before. And it's like, it's hard because we don't want, it's triggering. It's triggering to see someone in their victimhood. And it's also like, yeah, it was deepening my level of compassion and for myself.
It's just a very dense, a very dense frequency energy when someone is in these low frequency vibrations of victimhood, shame.
It's hard.
It's just like hard. It just drags you down, like, and then it is not like expansive,
but
right?
It's okay for people to be there.
No, it's okay. But then know that there's no reason for you to be there a long time. When it comes, you gotta fully embrace it.
Totally.
Like fully surrender to it and feel it until you can't feel no more. Like don't band-aid that shit with a pat on your back or alcohol or a party or whatever, or Netflix. Like feel it, right? Like go deep, feel your feelings, feel the victim for 1 hour, for like just say, oh God, why me? And keep feeling like a victim for like 2 hours alone in your room. And then after that, guess what? You're gonna laugh about yourself. You're gonna be like, wow, that feels so good. I just released so much of that dense energy. Your vibration is gonna rise. You were not pretending, you're not trying to change your frequency immediately. You are dealing with that energy that is there without trying to be ashamed, without being ashamed of feeling like that. And that's what I was trying.
That's what we were teaching in the course,
and that's what we were teaching in the course. That's what we teach as well. That's what we were like
going through on this journey with each other so deeply. Like we were like, universe, we're going to really help these women step into their Empress, like their ultimate power. And this is the process. And we were literally in this process so we could master it.
So every time that you were like telling the universe that you want to do something big, guess what? The universe is going to test you.
Yeah.
The universe is going to test you in the ways to see if you're truly embodied. Are you truly embodied? Right? Mm-hmm. Are you truly embodying what you teach? So every time you feel imposter syndrome, guess what? You're not that embodied. That's true. So how can you be more in integrity with the things that you're teaching?
The other thing is we always teach the thing that we're also learning. This is natural. Everybody does this, right? This is true. Otherwise, we wouldn't
Or the
teach
things that
it.
we learned.
The things
You
that
know?
we've learned. Yeah. And, technically, like, we are both on a journey of really mastering power. Like, otherwise, we wouldn't be teaching this course. And there are waves and lengths of doing that in all capacities. So the universe is going to say, you know what? Perfect. You're going to get a bunch of people and a bunch of different versions of their power. And then you're also going to be put in situations where you're going to use these tools and you're going to perfect them in your own life so that when you teach them, you've done it in this situation, you've done it in this situation, you've done it in this situation. Now let's up level the mastery. Nope. There's a level even beyond. Nope. There's a level even beyond. So there's stages and layers. And, when we talk about imposter syndrome, I think it's really important to recognize you have permission to teach the thing that you're mastering and you're learning. Because you're always going to look at someone and be like, they're better than me. We're always going to compare to the best and the best and the best. And that's normal. That's natural. That's okay. It's a benchmark for our growth.
Yeah, but not like comparing, but just like learning from them, I feel like it's very important. We like, yes, it is something that we tend to, and I don't want it to say like, but I just don't want it to say it's normal, because like, let's not compare ourselves to someone that is doing that for 20 years. Like, don't compare yourself, your first step, with my 50 step.
For sure.
So like, don't compare yourself. Just if you want to compare yourself how far you have come. Compare
sure.
yourself, with yesterday. Like, if you're 1% better than yesterday, that's great. If there's anything that, most often we don't realize that all we need to do, where we need to be, just one level up than the people that we are teaching. And it's even better, because then you can teach better how to take that next step. Like, some people just need that next step.
For sure.
Right? So like, I feel like this now in the coaching industry, my love. I really want to talk about this in your podcast, because I know a lot of people from that industry is gonna be listening. If you're a mentor, light worker, whatever it is, like, I feel like it's so important to teach through embodiment. That was a big lesson for me for the last 2 years. I started really, like, not really trusting myself, to be honest. Like, I started this journey of group coaching. Like, I needed to put so much, like, you know notes, and scripts are fine, notes are fine, but your own, right, coming through you, it is good.
For sure.
Right? If you're like trying to like take it from outside, external, if you got inspired from a book, like, give credit to it. The more in integrity you are with your content that you're creating, the more openness you will have for the universe intelligence to flow through you. Last year for me, so not last year, 2021, I set an intention and I wanted less overthinking and more downloads. You did the
Sovereignty. Yeah.
I did the less overthinking, more downloads. That was like my whole point. I'm like, I taught a business course in 2020, super like strategy, masculine energy, like templates and everything, and that really drained me, my energy. I'm like, this is not what I want to be teaching. This is not what actually helped me, because those strategies everyone is giving, like, we all see, it's like people can just get it for free, to be honest. Like, on just pay. If you observe, you just see it. Of course, there are like the strategies that work for me, right, the things that work for me, but I need to have this connection with what works for me. And, like, now what I can say from this journey of really honoring that connection with myself, like, I just receive so much. Like, I can create a whole hour class now in 30 minutes only with bullet points, and it's like people just get it, because it's like it's true downloads, is being taught with my energy. I'm relaxed, I'm in my body, I'm embodied. It's from my experience, my wisdom. That's what people want from you. They want you. They want your life experience. They want your embodiment.
For
And
sure.
that's what, like, when we were creating this program, the Empress Codes, me and Chelsea, we're like, what are the things that we absolutely embodied, that we have experienced ourselves, and this is our codes, the codes of the Empress through us, that is flowing through us. What are those codes that led us to have the Queen energy, the Empress energy? What are the things that we learned in order to get here, to be able to create an event with 200 people, speakers, and like thousands and thousands of people attending throughout the days? That energy, that is like, is you have the kind of energy, like, it's like Chelsea, like, she will take in 1 hour what she can do in 1 hour. Some people will take like a month. Because she's so passionate, and like, and she's not at all like, attached to little things like me. For me, I take longer a little bit, and she's just like, she just go for it. She downloads it. So what she would do, she would create all the freaking emails and everything that I'm like, it takes a lot of energy for me. Email marketing, it takes a lot of energy. So she would create everything, and then I would go into the details, and then like I would create from there. And that's my jam. I love to make things better. That's my thing.
Like, and I love to create the initial everything, putting it all in place. Boom. Yes, I see it.
I love it too, but if I'm creating, I love to create from get the zero too. But if I'm creating, like, I love to help others amplify what is already there. I cannot do that for myself. I have to hire someone to amplify. Like, if I need to hire, or you can amplify or make it better, my things. But we all need this partnership. Like, there are things that she created, and that's it. And then I come there, I give suggestions, we change it here and there, little tweaks. And then it's better. And then she takes it, she see what works, what doesn't work, what resonates, what don't. So there's like this beautiful dance, this beautiful back and forth. I love it.
Yeah, me too. And that was like a huge part of our partnership, was really including each other in the entire process and making decisions together, and like having a vision. Because the thing is, we're two humans, and we've gone through very similar, trainings and things, but we've had totally different life experiences. And so we're also approaching this project with one vision here, one vision there. And, we had to learn how to share the vision with each other to create an even better vision. Like 1 + 1 = 11, right? That's what we were like aiming to do. And in the beginning, we weren't doing that. It was one vision here, one vision there. Well, I like my vision. I like my vision. And there was this process of melding things together that took a lot of intentionality and focus and power dynamics of like me standing my power, you allowing for like other expression.
I always wanted you to stay in your power. This is like, if you haven't, like, this is like what I love about you when you're in your power. Like, I would never want to take it away from anybody. And you know what? There is another thing that I want to say, because my shadow, really quick.
Sure. Of course.
And see, I also want to talk. And it is the part where I felt like I'm a very giving person as well. Like you are too, of course, But when I am seeing for me, like, I am very much like a giver. I am very generous, and I'm a giving energy, and I'm like, I want to make sure everyone is feeling okay. Because of my sisterhood wound is like, I studied in 14 schools with, so I'm always like with the girl gangs, the girl groups in these different schools. I had to kind of fit in, and I had to kind of like, you know, uh, like be accepted in the group. And I always wanted to make sure everyone is feeling okay and everyone is feeling good. And I'm like people pleasing, right? So I have developed that with women, and I started to see it was a huge transformation for me, our relationship, because I didn't realize before that I was already in that journey of discovering that I didn't want to like be in that space with women, and I really wanted them to like stand, be able to trust they have their power, they got their own back, and I don't need to be taking care other women. So for me, it was a huge journey not to always be like trying to make you feel good and let you feel whatever you were feeling instead of making it mean anything from you. Of course, I felt things, right? That's the shadow part. Like, because I really wanted to stand in that thing, in that vision of really like letting myself be who I am, and not being responsible for how, for if like I will do whatever I can. I care what you feel, right? I care, but I am not responsible for it. I care. How can I support you? How can I love you? How can I be a better friend? How can I be a better business partner? I'm always open and available and inviting on this question, but at the same time, like, so my shadow is like, I am who I am, and I'm not gonna be someone that I'm not to be accepted. And that was so hard for me, because like, what if am I a monster? Am I wrong? What is wrong with me? Like, there's something wrong with me. I am not cool. I am not nice, right? My biggest fear, like, I'm not nice, people don't like me. That was my biggest fear, like people won't like me. And at the same time, I created this whole freaking amazing community and business, the Magnetic Woman Academy, huge success, female empowered women, like female feminine empowerment, like making them feel held, feel seen. It was part of the whole culture. It is part of the culture of my brand, Feminine Empowered, to be able to hold that. But what it was happening, I was still, and I realized, and I feel like I'm in a whole different level right now with that. It's like that the mothering energy, that you have to be like mothering everybody, and that's very masculine, because it's giving and giving, and the feminine is receiving. So the mothering energy is actually a masculine energy, which is good. But if you're doing that with your partners, if you're in your mothering energy with your clients, then you're not empowering them. You're taking away their power, actually. If you're trying to be nice, that's when you're taking away the opportunity for them to go through whatever they have to get themselves back up on their own. Because guess what? There will be times that I won't be there, right? I cannot do the things that you have to do for you. Like, I cannot grow your business for you. I cannot commit for you on your behalf. I cannot feel the feelings on your behalf. I cannot like have realizations on your behalf. That's on you.
For sure. Yeah.
So that for me was like
huge.
It was a huge, huge thing. Right now, I feel like I gave you that opportunity, and I just see you like in your freaking power. And that makes me feel, and now we have this perfect.
And I also gave myself the opportunity. The thing is, it's really, really important for all, especially women, to really take responsibility for our emotions, because it is so easy.
Men too.
Yeah, and men. But it is so easy for women to really want to just just project outwards and say, this is happening to me. And I was like the queen of saying, this is happening for me. But when it got really, really intimate, and it was really going up against my deepest core wounds, right? This was like my Saturn return too, and it was all about stepping into power. So of course I picked the most perfect person to help me along with this journey, a Scorpio. Perfect one.
5 planets in Scorpio.
Lots of Scorpio, yes. And it was like the phoenix rising from the ashes, and really standing with myself in that process. And this is really important, because when we're creating businesses, we have a tendency to focus on the strategy. We have a tendency to focus on buying all these things, these fixes. But at the end of the day, these dynamics are what makes a person actually expand and reach their potential. And this is also what makes a person collapse and come in, because they're not really owning their power. And so when we're this is like so crucial and so important to like have these experiences either in a really safe container, like a course, right? You're in a safe container in a course, because it's almost like a lab. We called our Empress Codes the leadership lab, because we were like putting them in scenarios where they could actually experience these things. We didn't have a lab. We had real like life, and there were no rules. There was no like structure. It was like the Wild West, and we're dealing with all these things. And it was like, what do I do? Am I, is it her? Is it me? Is it everything? Am I everything? Are we a mirror? You go through this whole journey. And then it's like, wow, and then it's really, really impactful when it hits. Like when the realization hits, I felt high for a week. I was like, I did it! Ah! We both felt like we had up-leveled so much that it was like, thank you. Like I couldn't have done this without you in this experience. And
thank you. It was quite of a wild ride. I'm so happy that we made it to the other side.
Me too. I'm really grateful. And yeah, I think, it's really good for people to see this side of it, because a lot of people just saw, I had more people than ever saying, oh my God, your branding is amazing. Your images, like the vibration when you guys are on camera. And that was so true. And we felt it every time we were like, so great, but it was obviously, it's so hard. You don't even sharing these moments. I don't even know what to share, because when we're in it, we don't see the other side. It's not even appropriate to share until we're fully integrated. And so like this place now, we're able to talk about this, and it's like, it's important to share this so people can see, people experience this in romantic relationships, in business partnerships, in friendships, and it's normal. It's normal. And it's okay to go on these journeys. And at some point, the normalness and the shadow, instead of going like this, you get more refined. And you're the trigger and the response, there's like this, almost like this refinement. And then you start standing in complete alignment in your shadow. The sun is just casting down at like noon, and then you're just like, wow, I see myself clearly, I see who I am. And yeah, the shadow is like wiggling, and the sun is like moving, but I'm seeing myself clearly because I'm standing in my truth, and the shadow just gets a little bit more refined, right?
Okay. Yeah, I feel like, just the willingness. If you, like us, you were willing, like, how do you feel right now by listening, by watching this? Because, it takes a lot of courage so I hope you respect as I'm kidding. But what I'm saying is, it's about you being able to share as well those things with your audience.
Yeah.
Because this is what people need to hear. They're not alone, and there are ways, like we gave you, if you listen carefully, there are many hot tips in this podcast on how you can transmute pain into power, right? How can you go from like disconnected to the ultimate partnership connection in this world, right? It's really being there and really willing to both look at each other's, and then in the other side of it, there is like, we feel more connected than ever. We feel like, yes, we made it, like we're still here, like we owned it. She held space for me, I held space for her, and and that's humanity. So like, cut the putting us on the pedestal, cut putting your mentors in a pedestal, cut putting yourself on a pedestal, because, my darlings, every time that you put yourself on a pedestal, your people put yourself on a pedestal, you will be so afraid of falling it, right? And if somebody that you're putting on a pedestal falls, you're gonna have such a big deception, because we're all humans, we're all here to learn. So
Yeah, absolutely.
accepting light, shadow, everything.
And it really takes us all being vulnerable and willing to share these things publicly, even when we do have, we're in the course right now. We're running the course right now. And it's vulnerable talking about these things, but it's actually almost essential and crucial, because we're walking the walk. We're not just talking the talk. And there's so many people, it's not about anyone else, but there's so many people out there who are regurgitating information, just like we were talking about before. And like, this is the embodiment of what we're doing. This is the embodiment of what we're teaching. And have grace with yourself and give yourself permission to, lean into these things. Don't have fear. Like, fear might come up, but like, this process, it was challenging, but it was the most transformational experience possible. It's worth it. And I'll say any relationship that you enter is worth it. It's always worth it. This is the point of life. We are mastering our soul lessons by doing stuff like this. And when we can share them vulnerably, we're also allowing other people to be like, it's okay. I'm not alone, and I'm allowed to have this experience. And, not all relationships are perfect. Like, it's okay to go through the shadow and, hold ourselves in that.
It's perfect in its imperfection.
Yeah.
All relationships are perfect in their imperfection. And the only thing, the bad thing that could have happened with us is that if we weren't willing to go through that fire, then like, oh my goodness,
walking
then
away,
like all the things it would, this project's not even about me and Chelsea. It's about something way bigger than just us, right? And so we made a very powerful decision that we're gonna look into all those things, because it's not about us, it is about something else. It's not about who speaks more, it's not about who has more decision making power, it's not about who is the best at branding or who is the best at connecting. It's not about that.
Yeah,
it is not. It is about
Totally.
us.
Yes.
Just giving the space for people to go and transform. It's a service thing. It's us being in our most authentic self energy, in order for us to show up fully and authentically, energetically as well. It's us being like vulnerable when things come up, like just now, so then you can learn from it too, right? It's not about us, it's more.
For sure.
It's way more.
For sure.
And that's why it works.
And that's why it works, Exactly. The bigger picture, the vision, seeing beyond, like, this is why we're here.
We both hold such a high standards for humanity, like where we want to see the future of the humans and the planet, in all different levels. We're standing for the female rewild, like going wild and being in touch. That's what Chelsea stands for, right?
Yeah.
I'm standing for females in their full expression and power and wealth in the hands of women. I know that this work that we do is way bigger than our little girls, our inner child that just want to feel loved and seen. So we see it, and let's go. Like, I see you, I love you, you're seen, you're powerful, and let's go, because now we are adults, we're doing big shit. Put the bigger undies, I love you, let's go. It's not like not paying attention. It's like, I love you, and let's
do
go.
this. And just to put this into context, this is what's happening globally right now. And all of the masks across leaders in all the countries are slowly falling away. And this moment is way more powerful than us, because there is a world power right now that is shifting. And so by us doing this work, we are also learning the tools and the steps to be able to teach other people, even if it's not presidents, right? Maybe it is, but maybe it's someone who could teach the presidents, or someone you never, yeah, it's presidents. But you know what I mean?
Presidents definitely, like President Trump definitely should come to our workshops. Biden, maybe we should have both of them come.
All right, come both of you. Empress Temple
and Bolsonaro. Emperor Temple.
Emperor Temple. Oh my god, the codes of the emperor.
We created another name for the president. Something more corporate.
For sure. Branding. Exactly. So yeah, at the end of the day, like, this is so much bigger than us. And, you know, whatever you're going through and all of these shadows, if you're going through all these in any relationship that you're in, whether it's business, whether it's personal, whatever, like, just have compassion and know that, oh yes, like, this is part of my journey of evolution. I am meant to be doing this. I'm meant to be here. And turn the lens inward. Like, turn the mirror inward and just be like, what is it within me? And that can be really challenging. That can be really, really hard to do, especially if you're in a situation that is really, really challenging, like extreme, like, you know, physical, or, you know, all going into those realms of just violence. And this is where it gets really challenging, but this is what doing the work really is. And, you know, this is, it's hard, but it's really powerful.
Yeah, we're here for it. We're here really honestly, you know, and if things come up again, we are ready, like, aware the next time, right? We know. And so, you know, we're, especially women, when women are collaborating together, it's like we're like sisters, you know. And I didn't have a sister. You had a sister? Your dad had a sister?
I have a brother.
You have a brother.
Sisters.
There's not a sister, right? Like, at home, like, growing up. And so, like, that's good though, I think. I don't know. That's another chat for another time.
She's an only child. I have a sibling. It's different too in that way. So there's so many layers.
There's so many layers for it. And I just want to say, like, I love you.
I love you. And I'm very grateful for this. And thank you all for listening. And if you loved this podcast and you want more, go ahead and subscribe to the Chelsea Zerna podcast. You can get more of all this magic going forward. If you're interested in working with us, we have our Empress Codes program. So you can actually take the entire course on your own time at any time that you want. And you can reach out to us, Thatja Andrade on Instagram.
Yes, Thatja Andrade. I know it's complicated, but you know my name here, just first and last name together.
Or you can go to my Instagram and look at all my tagged photos, and you'll see her in all of them for the last couple months. And with that being said, I love every one of you. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for sitting with us in this beautiful temple space of vulnerability and love and all the magic that came with it.